Still, Osrc News at 7. You can watch us live. The news continues. On quarter of 2023 States Fiscal Transparency League published by Budget. Budget, a civic organization, uses creative technology to simplify public information, stimulating the community of active citizens. 4 states, Sokoto, Benue, and Enugu. Jigawa State's medium-term expectation frameworks document was comprehensive and timely with the citizens' budget. Residents of Akure, the Ondo State capital, have lauded the intervention of the paramount ruler, Deji of Akure, Obalade Toyibo Aladelusi, in the area of health. The traditional ruler has introduced medical outreach as part of activities lined up for the celebration of this year's Ulefuta festival in Akure. Omori Olambeji, who was there, now reports.
This is the annual medical outreach initiated by the Deji of Akure, Obalade Toyimbo Aladelusi, as part of activities lined up for the celebration of Ulefunta Festival. This year's edition is the 4th since establishment in 2020.
We now flag off the program. Thank you very much.
Flagging off the outreach, Deji of Akure, Obalade Toyimbo Aladelusi encouraged citizens to make use of the window and know their status, while thanking members of the committee for their efforts in making Ulefunta Festival a memorable one. Obaladelusi maintained that he is more interested in the well-being of his subjects.
Since we started about 4 years ago, we know the program has been expanding. We had some discovery that really helped one of our chiefs. So since then, intensified effort that we should be doing this every year, and it has been helping the community. And we will continue the program. Health is better than giving out money. So if you have good health, you have everything.
Chairman, Central Steering Committee of Ulefuta Festival, Adekunle Ajanaku, also the Olu of Agolisa Mudipe, was elated at the turnout of the people and maintained that the program, alongside other related ones, were introduced to ensure that all and sundry benefit from the good gesture of the bountiful harvest.
Over a time, we have been associated with wining and dining, and so we thought it fit that it should be more inclusive. To embrace support to the underprivileged. So that was what informed the health outreach, the skill acquisition scheme, the scholarship scheme. 10 students across 3 local governments, I think, were given scholarships. For this year alone, 70 Akure youths were placed in various vocations, ranging from fashion designing, catering, photography, and so on and so forth.
Among the tests carried out were blood pressure, sugar level, HIV test, and hepatitis, while drugs were given to patients according to prescription.
They do level sugar, and BP, they do it for me. They do well. I thank for them. They do very well for everybody, because they are a good person. Wọ́n ṣàyẹ̀wò, wọ́n kó oògùn, wọ́n mú oògùn fún mi. Mi ló ní kí n wá gba oògùn níbí Ìdèjì, Aládétòyìnbó, Ọba Àkúrẹ́.
Protagonists of the outreach promised their continuous support, saying health is wealth. Chairman Subcommittee on Health, Kunle Ashaolu, said the program is for all, irrespective of status or origin.
It is not gender discriminatory, and every person that come without minding the tribe or clan. As many persons that come, every person that comes must be screened.
High point of the program was health talk on diabetes and high blood pressure. Omoriola Hungbeji, Osrc News.
The federal government says it will deploy the 150 billion naira that would be raised from the ongoing Sukuk bond issue to fund the construction of 53 road projects across the country. This was even as it is projected that the total amount raised by the federal government through Sukuk would soon hit 1 trillion naira. Director General of the Debt Management Office, DMO Patience Onia, will disclose this at an investors forum in Abuja, said the 53 roads cover more than 3,000 kilometers. She explained that the revenue generated through the collection of tolls on the roads will be allocated for the specific purpose of repaying Sukuk. Onia emphasized that the federal government's dedication to value-oriented borrowing continues through project-centered Sukuk, leading to the execution of notable road and bridge projects. As part of the ongoing reforms at the Federal Ministry of Works, the Minister, David Umahi, has ruled out the use of laterite in road construction and directed that henceforth contractors should use lumps, sharp sand and stone base to form the base before laying of concrete or asphalt pavement. The minister stated this at the inauguration of the committees for the supervision of the reconstruction of Benin-Warri dual carriageway and the dualization of East-West Road, Port Harcourt on Airport Junction Road in River State. According to the minister, laterite has a limited load-bearing capacity and is also susceptible to erosion and weathering, especially in areas with heavy rainfall, which could lead to degradation of the road surface over time. The minister directed the newly inaugurated Road Task Force team to ensure continuous maintenance of all the roads under construction until the end of the project and make sure that the contractors are duly informed of the development. The federal government has suspended Empower program indefinitely. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, announced the indefinite suspension. According to Edu, the decision was birthed by some irregularities within the scheme. The minister said the government has launched investigation into the utilization of funds since the inception of the program. She noted that some of the beneficiaries are not found in their place of assignment, yet they expect monthly stipends, while some ought to have exited the program since 2022 but are still on the payroll. We'll take another break now. Please stay. We'll be back shortly.
Among the priority of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu as captured in his 8-point redeemed agenda is educational advancement and human capital development. The theme for this year's World Teachers' Day, the teacher we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage, is apt to the current challenges facing the education sector, not only in Ondo State, but across the globe. In 2021, Ondo State government recruited 1,200 teachers into primary schools and 79 into special schools across the state. This no doubt had positive effects on the common entrance results as the number of candidates that scored above 40 jacked up to 81% in year 2021 as against 65% in year 2020 and has since been maintaining the standard in subsequent years. to improve on the standard of education, especially at the elementary level, Chairman, Ondo State Universal Basic Education Board, Victor Olabinton, said another round of employment would be rolled out, but not without conditions.
Those recruited to serve in those areas, they refuse to stay there. Every effort made, even with all the incentives, they are not ready, because when Nigerians here, particularly in Ondo State, when they say they want to recruit teachers, everybody, Kabiyesi, senator, all of them, they will bring their children to be recruited. And once they are recruited, they say, my child cannot go there, I cannot this here. All of them want to be in Akure, they want to be in Owo, they want to be in Ekare, they want to be in Ondo, they want to be in Okitipupa. Nobody wants to go to those rural areas. And that is why our next line of recruitment is not going to be a general recruitment at all. It's going to be based on the need of each community. So that each community, based on their need, we will say, okay, this community, you have 5 schools. You need 10 teachers. Can you get us your children who are qualified to teach in those schools? We interview them. If they are capable, we recruit them so that they can stay in those areas.
Some of the contributions of Ondo State government towards addressing the well-being of teachers in Ondo State include salary payments, offsetting backlog arrears, renovation of schools with additional lockers and chairs, and other learning materials. To this end, over 22 billion naira has been expended so far on infrastructure.
And that's why when you go to most of our schools, we have touched about 900 primary schools out of about 1,300. Whether perimeter fencing, whether building of new structures, whether renovation of new structures, we have touched 900 to date. I'm not talking of furniture. Furniture, we provide furniture for all the schools. We provide a lot of instructional material for all the schools. But I'm talking of physical structures. That is what we have done. And so far, so good. Our schools are better today than yesterday.
Mr. Olabinton also speaks on building the capacity of teachers, which he said would be carried out across 22 locations in Ondo State.
Every year, we train and retrain most of the teachers. For example, in less than about 2 weeks now, we are going to train about 1,500 of our primary school teachers. We want to teach them how to teach English in the class, modern way of teaching English, so that the child will understand, so that the child will be able to read and write. We are going to teach them. And we ought to have done this during the long vacation. But because the fund for it did not come early enough, we decided to do it now, because it is done on timely basis during the long vacation, just for 1 week. The one we are going to do now is that we are going to do it in the afternoons. Bupis, the school closes at 2 o'clock. We'll begin the training at 3 o'clock to 6 every day for 1 week.
He called on communities, parents, children, and lovers of education in the state to work with government and give teachers the respect due to them as the days of old and bring back the sanity in our society. Omoriola Humbiji, Osrc News.
The Nigerian Army will soon commence a nationwide military exercise to ensure the safety of Nigerians during the youth-out season. Addressing newsmen on the exercise at the Army headquarters, Director Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyeman Nwachukwu, noted that in line with the Nigerian Army Training Directive for the year 2023, troops in collaboration with sister services and other security agencies will be conducting training exercises across the country from October to December 2023. According to him, the exercise designed to improve individual and collective professional competence would dovetail into real-time operations to tackle various peculiar security challenges in the geopolitical zones. He also said the exercise will focus on enhancing the capabilities of the troops in intelligence gathering and effective proactive response to criminalities. Nwachukwu noted that the Nigerian Army recognizes the importance of collaboration and synergy among various security agencies in boldly confronting security challenges facing the country. The United States government, through the U.S. Agency for International Development, has announced a $29 million investment to support aquatic and fish farmers in Nigeria, Bangladesh, Kenya, and Zambia. This is as it reviewed a 5-year extension for 2 research partnerships under Feed the Future, the U.S. government's Global Hunger and Food Security Initiative. According to the agency, $15 million is led by Mississippi State University for the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for fish, while $14 million is led by Michigan State University for the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Legume System Research Program. The U.S. government said the extension would focus on increasing food safety and inclusivity along aquatic food value chains so more people could benefit from nutritious diets and decent livelihoods. It added that the program will also expand to reach more communities in new regions of Africa and for the first time into Latin America and the Caribbean. Hundreds of students, researchers, and artists from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, with upcoming professional trips to France that can take months of planning, have been uncertain about getting their visas due to deteriorating relations with France. This follows coups in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger that prompted France to suspend consular services in this country. Akishemola reports.
Burkinabe medical student Alfonso Nikiema had all but given up on his dream of spending a year training at a French hospital. Thus, after France suspended consular services in his country, Niger and Mali, amid a dramatic decline in relations. Last month, Nikiema received an email saying his study abroad for this academic year had been cancelled, but he has now been told he can resume paperwork to get a French visa for his mandatory psychiatric specialization next year.
When we initially got the news, it wasn't easy, even if we could continue my training here. But the fact that we were able to go to another country to gain another type of experience is enriching.
Last year, France issued 907 students and training visas for Burkina Faso nationals, 986 to Malians, and 436 to Nigerians, according to a French diplomatic source. But following coups, juntas in Mali, Burkina Faso, in Niger have turned against their former colonial ruler. French ambassadors and troops are being kicked out amid growing anti-French sentiment. And that's left hundreds of students, researchers, and artists with upcoming professional trips to France in limbo. Outside the visa center in Burkinabe capital, Ouagadougou, postgraduate international law student Tondri Yara is hoping for some good news.
You need to know that the Campus France procedure takes a year to get ready. And we started with it in October 2022. And then, at the last minute, you can't get a visa. It takes a lot of energy, and you have to change all your plans.
He says he's looking at Canada, Switzerland, Belgium, or staying in Burkina Faso as alternatives, though switching will likely delay the process. The visa issue, as well as the suspension of French development aid, comes as President Emmanuel Macron seeks to reset ties with its former colonies in Africa. That's against a backdrop of increased competition for sway from Russia and China. France critics say it has sought to maintain excessive economic and political influence decades after countries gained independence. Paris says it has moved away from this dynamic. Akintunde Akinshemola for Osrc News.
The French government is battling to contain a bout of nationwide panic over bedbugs in Paris, just 9 months before the capital hosts next summer's Olympic Games. Government officials were holding an emergency meeting on how to tackle a crisis born out of an anecdote and viral post on social media. Aderonke Klawley has the detail.
This is what's been really bothering Parisians. Posts on social media shatter on streets and on talk show are all contributing to a panic over bedbugs in Paris. It has been that government officials held an emergency meeting on how best to tackle the hysteria, and it comes just 9 months before the city is set to host the Olympics. But is the issue really that bad? Should the residents and visitors be concerned?
We saw a rise in France of bedbugs, but it's an old phenomenon. It started more than 10 years ago. What we've seen is that the population of bedbugs double once every 5 years. So it's rising quite slowly, but at a regular rate. So it's quite concerning, of course. And right now we also have a media bubble about that subject, and also people are very scared about it.
Female bedbugs can deposit 1 to 5 eggs a day and may lay 200 to 500 eggs